Before I get started, I do consulting on where you can move. I'll work with you to find the perfect place for you to move to. There's more information at the end of the video about that. Now let's get started. They say nobody's in Iowa by accident. You're there on purpose. So that means the people here in Lytton must be here for a reason too. Little Lytton, Iowa, home to 282 probably mostly nice people. Most of the homes here have sold for anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000. Yes, I know, right here in no man's land, Midwest. It's a simple life way out here in the sticks, where people probably listen to the corn grow and think about when the population was a whopping 258 people way back in 2013. I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to live here. We're only 19 minutes from the nearest Casey's, and we're 42 minutes from Fort Dodge, the most dangerous place in the state of Iowa. Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. Fort Dodge, Iowa, population 24,159, and going down yearly. All around us, there's nothing but corn and bean fields. We've seen a lot of that at this point. Today was day 13 of my memorable Midwest mission. If you recall, I began in Kansas City, went all through Nebraska, parts of Minnesota and South Dakota, and now we're in Iowa. There's been hardly any drama up to this point. Most of what I've seen has been pleasant, and what I'd discover here would add a whole lot of perspective to this trip. Right now we're in downtown Fort Dodge. There ain't much here, especially at dusk. I guess I can see why Iowans might not think this is a very good place to be. Downtown is eerily quiet and empty and somewhat shuttered. A third of all residents have left this region since 1960. Yes, 1 out of 3 have taken off and probably won't come back. It all got jump-started in the early 80s when large companies like Hormel and Iowa Beef closed shop here in Fort Dodge. Technology changed and there was no need for food production here anymore. So the place went downhill. Fort Dodge has been described by Iowans in not so endearing terms. Some say they're a bunch of pillbillies and country ghetto rednecks out this way. That's not nice. Some call this Iowa's Florida. Others call it Dirty Dodge. I guess that's not as bad. On the way into Fort Dodge, I stopped in the small town of Moreland, population 168. When I told the owner of the town bar I was going to Fort Dodge, he asked me if I had my bulletproof vest with me. He said there had been a shooting here not too long ago. A shooting? One? What the damn hell? The perspective here in this state has been skewed as to what's really happening in the rest of the country. So coming into town, I had my doubts about how bad this place would really be. A lot of people in Fort Dodge certainly try to give this place a bad rep. Fort Dodge does have the highest murder rate in the state, but most of the crimes here are going to be what you think they'd be. Robberies, random shootings, lots of overdoses. There's twice as many ODs here as there are in the rest of the state. That sucks. But we need to look at this with some perspective, because as a whole, Iowa doesn't have a lot of crime in general. It is the 13th safest state overall. There were 111 murders here in the whole state last year. The city of Chicago is about as populated as Iowa is. And in Chicago, there were 774 murders last year. So Chicago had 813% more murders than little Fort Dodge did. A real big difference. Yeah, there's some Wilmas here for sure. Wilma car gets stolen. Wilma kid OD. But it's a big deal when somebody actually dies here. There are plenty of Casey's and Walmarts and restaurant jobs for those who are willing to work. Many aren't. The poverty and job scene here is the worst you'll see in the state. Nearly 1 in 5 people in this city of 25,000 gets welfare. In any bad place in Iowa, it's always going to be bad because of a loss of jobs. It's the same industries too. Meat packing, manufacturing, food processing. Looking around town, it's below average, I guess. There aren't a lot of good jobs here, and things are closing down. They just announced the city's mall would finally shut down permanently. That sucks. It's shrunken and neglected in parts, but it's not blighted or anything. Just before dark, we took in a game of mini golf at a place called Fort Frenzy. The lights on the course didn't work, so we played in the dark. In a really actually bad city, this might have felt shady. Not here. I could have done a lot after dark here, and it wouldn't have mattered much, safety-wise. I can say, at least there aren't tents and poop all over. There isn't graffiti and riffraff walking around. Nobody's throwing bottles at you when you drive by. You can't just rob liquor stores here and not get prosecuted. And at least it's affordable. You can't say that about a lot of U.S. cities anymore. I always have to go to the worst part of town to get some perspective. This is what theirs looks like. It's bad in some parts, but come on now. Iowa hoods aren't bad. They aren't Chicago hoods. They're Iowa ghettos. They're like JV slums. The dangerous part of town is just a quiet, empty, lower-class community for the most part. It definitely doesn't feel dangerous. And this was on a Saturday night when most of the shit goes down. But it is cheap, mister. I did a query on homes under 50K, and holy crap, it's like the whole city. What the hell? This house sold for $3,000. It was valued at $100K, but nobody wants to move to the Dodge, I suppose. And you think that's low? This house sold for $392 just 4 months ago. It was valued at $63,000, but that's a big nope. Not the most dangerous place in Iowa. No way. I bet the good people here hate the BS. When you live in a place this small, you're either part of the problem or you're frustrated by it. If you're the people on the sidelines, you're just trying to make a normal life. But you have to deal with all the a-holes here.
Did you know someone called Fort Dodge the ugliest city in Iowa?
Now you take that hat off, Mappy. You ain't no damn rootin' tootin' varmint. Go on, get it.
Fort Dodge has some nice neighborhoods. The north end of town has quite a few desirable pockets. In a neighborhood like this, you can expect to pay about $450K. I guess that's a little bit too much. For here, anyways. If for Iowa, this is a shithole, well then Iowans have no perspective on what a real shithole town really is. If you're going to judge Iowa's crime based on what's happening here in Fort Dodge, then I'd say they have it pretty good here. It's the same thing I saw in Sioux City the day before. Iowans say that place is bad too, but it is not that. After 3 days in Iowa, I've seen just about the worst of what this state says it has. I'll tell you, Iowans are blissfully unaware of what the real world's like, and that makes them an interesting subject. Yeah, I just want to know about Iowa. So you've lived in Iowa for your entire life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I think the question that comes to mind first, so we spent a week in Iowa. Do Iowans realize how good they have it living in Iowa?
That's a good question. I think only a certain few understand that. I think you tend to realize that more as you get older. When you're young, you go to college, you go and live in a big city, and you start to realize how lucky you were to be living in a rural, small town. So it's really dependent on the person. Some people are just drawn to big cities, and that's what they like. They like that urban jungle, whereas others, prefer that more wide open space, that freedom, that ruralness provides. But so it really depends on the person. Preferably, I think I'm very fortunate to live in Iowa just because of, our government. We're pretty pro-liberty, if you will. And so I appreciate that aspect of it. So I see other states, like California, for example, and I see the videos. I'm happy that I don't live there. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, you should be happy you don't live in a lot of the country, because I keep saying it every video I produce about Iowa and the Midwest in general on this trip. I think y'all live in a bubble in that part of the country because, For instance, Fort Dodge, I was in Fort Dodge. I spent the day there. It has a terrible reputation among Iowans.
Dirty Dodge. Yeah.
Dirty Dodge.
Yeah.
They call it all kinds of stuff. It's not that bad. I don't understand.
No, it's not the worst state in terms of, I mean, the worst city in terms of statistics. But it does have kind of a bad reputation, Dirty Dodge. I know I've been there a couple of times. And I mean, compared to the rest of some of the bigger cities in Iowa, it is a rundown for Iowa, I would say. They definitely have an increase in crime compared to most cities. What's the population of Fort Dodge?
25,000.
25,000.
Yeah, per capita, it is higher. It is the highest in the state. The murder rate's the highest. But I mean, 2 murders, 5 murders, whatever, 3. It's really. I mean, we drove around. I went to the worst parts of Fort Dodge at night on a Saturday. It's not that bad at all. I didn't feel unsafe. I guess the question is Iowa out of touch with what's really going on in the country?
I wouldn't say they're quite out of touch. I think we're all pretty aware of what's going on with the rest of the country. It's more so it hasn't shown up at our doorsteps yet. So we don't really have to address it yet because it hasn't showed its face. I mean, you can sit back and watch, the videos and the news and whatnot and get outraged. But really, when you walk outside that front door, you don't see the kind of malevolency that you see on the internet occurring in those other states. So, yeah, in some way we are in a bubble, but in others, we're well aware of what's going on outside of our state and outside of the Midwest. And I think that's, like I said, part of the reason we're pretty grateful to be here in rural Iowa, at least speaking for myself. So.
Yeah, I think it's becoming a theme where young kids, by the time they graduate high school, they can't wait to get the hell out of Iowa, and then they realize the outside world's kind of scary, and maybe it's time to head back home.
Yeah, a lot of people probably do assume it's much better elsewhere, that the grass is greener on the other side. But a lot of them do come to find out that they had it pretty well to begin with. There's a lot of nasty people out there, and thank God a lot of nasty people don't live in Iowa, but in Iowa, you fight with your fist, and in another state, they may fight with a weapon. So it's something you keep in the back of your mind as you get older. So.
Amen to that. Yeah.
And we still have crime that occurs here in Iowa, obviously. We still have the occasional murder or the occasional, horrendous crime. But we're very community driven, and so when you're talking to fellow people of the community, you're talking mostly about the community and the crimes that are committed within the community. So I mean, we'll occasionally talk about U.S. politics, so like what's going on in Ferguson, Missouri a couple of years ago, or what's going on in Baltimore. And typically it always goes the same way, same conversation with most people. That's absurd. That's crazy. That's all happening. And so I don't know how to answer your exact question.
Why is Iowa so safe? Why don't you have the huge amounts of crime and the a-holes and the losers and the lowlives that other cities and other states have? Is it just a matter of the people? Not as many people want to live in Iowa. It's not appealing to those kind of people. Do you enforce the law more often? Is it just you can't get away with it like you can in other states? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think that for Iowa, we are stricter in law enforcement. You can't get away with for example, drug crime. We still penalize those people. In other states, you don't see that as often. But so, yeah, we are stricter, and typically word gets out faster in these small communities because of the chitter chatter and the gossip of a small town. You tend to know who's up to no good, and word starts to spread, and eventually law enforcement will find out. So And I think part of the reason, we don't really have as much crime is because we're pretty religious people over here. We still go to church every Sunday and read the Bible, and so we try to hold ourselves accountable for our actions. So,
Do you think you're ever going to leave Iowa? Are you going to ever move to another state, knowing what you know about the rest of the country?
so I don't know if I'll ever leave Iowa. I don't assume so. For me, I've got so much family here in Iowa that it'd be hard to cut ties with everybody and move hours away. So, and like I said, I kind of like the Iowa, the culture here. So I like the rural culture, and I like the quietness and not a lot going on. I enjoy that. So I don't anticipate ever leaving Iowa, but who knows?
Yeah, boring means no drama and no BS. A lot of people are sick of drama and BS. Sioux City, I was told.
Awful.
I did not think that was awful at all. Like,
really?
I'm very critical. I went there thinking it was going to be a dump. No,
Right.
this is not bad at all. That's why that was the first day in Iowa, and that kind of jump started the whole. Does Iowa really know what bad is? Because
Yeah.
you all say Sioux City sucks, and it does not suck. So
See, that's interesting. See, that's just a different standard, I suppose. Yeah, it's kind of just a difference of standards, a difference of perspectives, I would say.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Your standards and your perspective are different in Iowa than they are the rest of the country.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely. So 100%.
Hopefully you don't get those people on your doorstep. You don't want the worst of this country knocking down your doors and crossing your borders. Iowa's got 3 million people. I think it's perfect the way it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if Iowa stayed the same. So absolutely. But yeah.
That should be a bumper sticker that y'all put on your cars.
I wouldn't be upset if Iowa stayed the same. Yeah.
Keep Iowa.
We don't really look at materialistic things in terms of like character merits, if you will. We're not very materialistic. You could have, I wouldn't be friends with you if you had $0, and I wouldn't be friends with you if you had a mansion and a Lamborghini. But I would be friends with you if you're a good person. You got a good character about you, and you got dignity. And so that's kind of my take on it. But so
we need more Iowa in this country.
Well, to a degree, I think there's a line that needs held somewhere. Where we're going now, we just need some common sense and some control. It's kind of a fearful the direction this country's headed, and so I don't know. Buckle up, put on your seatbelts. It's only going downhill. That's the way I see it. It's only going down. There's no way you can recoup from now. So.
Yeah, but y'all can just build a big fence around your state and keep everybody out.
You know what? I don't. Hey, you're welcome to come here. I don't care. Anybody can come here, but there's a code that you need to adhere by, a code of honor, and so long you keep that code, whoever you are, you can come. And so you tend to lose that. You tend to lose that as more people come in. So it is what it is.
Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. You can get my email in the description to find out how I can help you find your perfect relocation. And I can also help you find your new house too. Email me and I'll work with you on not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home too. That's right. I know awesome, reliable agents all over the country, and I'd love to connect you to somebody who can help you search for that perfect home. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great. You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more. You can also now buy my songs on iTunes and other formats. Click the link in the description. Thanks for watching. And remember, while we all might have different views, we should all be nice to each other and try to make the U.S. a better place in a positive way.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.